I'm Dr. James Cardi, and I practice internal medicine in Cranston, Rhode Island. I grew up actually about 3 miles from this office, and my family settled here in the 1900s, and everyone pretty much stayed around this area. So my dad and my uncle and a lot of my relatives were all in medicine, and that's really what sort of led me down that road. For me, it was kind of a no-brainer. When I finished medical school, I wanted to come back to where I grew up and provide care for the people that I grew up with, and it's really been a wonderful experience. My dad was a general surgeon. He certainly was a huge inspiration to me. I also had a brother that passed away from cancer when he was in medical school, and he was a real influence on me and a real inspiration for me to pursue the career. I have another brother that's also a physician, as well as a few cousins. So there's a lot of people, but I would say that probably my brother Raymond was the biggest influence. When you talk about concierge medicine, it's really interesting because most people view this as, only the rich get it, and medicine for the stars, and medicine for the wealthy, and so on and so forth. But the reality is people pursue their health care in so many different ways. They'll go with a diet plan or whatever it is they need to do, and they try to pursue it in that way. But when they come to the primary care doctor, the primary care doctor needs to spend time capturing all of these data points to prove that the patient is complex. But when it comes to taking care of the complex patient, we don't have any time to take care of them because we're spending all the time collecting these data points. So concierge medicine, to me, allows us to spend that time that is so critical to develop the relationships, to be able to just sit there for 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 minutes, really whatever it takes, to truly get to know a patient and to really understand what they're trying to tell you. Not so much what they are telling you, but what they're really trying to tell you. Because there's so much that is hidden because both the patient and the doctor feel rushed. And to me, when you're able to spend time with the patient, the quality of healthcare, and there have been studies that show this, concierge practice patients have lower utilization, they have better outcomes. It really just makes sense. And third-party payers, don't want to understand that. They don't want to pay us to take the time to take care of these complex patients. So if you're a complex patient, or you're someone that really cares about your health, it's a no-brainer. Everyone thinks it's so expensive, but if you look at the cost of so many things that we spend money on every day, it's really comparable to any of those. And what's more important than your health and having a great relationship with a doc that you can just reach out to and talk to like you've known him for 100 years and not for 7 minutes? One of the reasons I want to make the switch to concierge medicine is because I feel that I'm really not giving the patients what I really can give them. I feel rushed through visits. I've expressed this frustration with a lot of my patients, and they feel the same way. They feel like they really want more from all of healthcare, from all of the doctors that they see. They wait in the office forever. They see the doctor for 5 minutes, and then it's out the door and on to the next doctor because everyone just gets bounced around. And we're really trying to avoid that. I think that if you can create an atmosphere and create an environment where you are really one with the patient, it changes the dynamic completely. People are always looking for tangible results. They're always looking for, what am I going to get for this? What do I get for this? What do I get for this? Well, and I'm not specifically talking about concierge medicine, I'm talking about just any purchase. You're spending money on something and you really want to know what you're getting for it. There's an intangible thing in medicine that you really can't put your finger on, and to me that's just a sense of comfort and a sense of belief in the doctor that's providing the care for you. So I try to do this day in and day out, and I think that I do a good job with it. But there's only so much that you can do in a certain time frame. And when those constraints that we were talking about earlier, about having to capture data points and having to do paperwork and having to do this and that, it by default just kind of falls by the wayside. So to me, the true value is having someone that you can reach out to that knows you as well as anyone else and that you have complete faith in. I mean, there are some obvious reasons why I want to do this. I mean, there are certainly some personal benefits here. I have a 9-month-old daughter and a 4-year-old son, so it's really exciting for us. And, I want to be able to spend a little bit more time with them. But, in a traditional practice setting, it's really difficult to do that because you have to force so much into a day that you really don't get the satisfaction of truly being available for your patient. You do everything you can, and you squeeze them in and you fit them in and you kind of make it work. But there's always that sense that maybe I could spend some more time. Maybe I could spend some more time. So it's a double-edged sword. If I have to spend more time in the office, I don't get to spend as much time with my children, and I kind of want to balance it out both ways. I really want to be able to spend time with my children, and by doing this, I'm going to be able to do both. I can spend a lot of time with my patients and a lot of time with my children. So I think it benefits everyone. A few years back, a gentleman came in, and he had a sore throat. And he said, well, I've been to the ER 4 times with these sore throats and I keep getting sore throats. So I started talking to him for a minute. So my phone rang and my staff informed me that my next patient had canceled. So I had a few extra minutes. I had another 20 minutes to spend with this gentleman. So I started talking to him more and more about his sore throats. And he went to a walk-in and he was seen and he was treated with an antibiotic, and then they treated him with a decongestant and so on and so forth. As I spoke to him more and more, I started to realize that the pain that he was having in his throat wasn't a sore throat. He was having angina, or what sounded like angina. And it turned out, I sent him to a cardiologist, and he had 3-vessel heart disease, had a cardiac cath, and had a bypass. So, I mean, there is value. I mean, a patient comes in with a sore throat. He's been seen in the ER 3 times. He has another sore throat. You kind of just thinking, well, it's postnasal drip, it's an allergy, and you kind of force it. And you ask some basic questions, and they kind of deny them up front. But when you sit down with this patient and you spend more and more time with them, then these little things start to trickle out. Well, I used to take the garbage out, it was no problem, and now sometimes I have to stop when I do it. These are things that they would never ever mention. Because even though you ask questions, everyone's in a rush. They want to get out because they've got to get to work, and you've got your next patient, and everybody's kind of moving around. And it's nice to be able to just sit down, spend some time, and really tease the information out that more often than not just doesn't come out in a typical interview. I've been taking care of patients for 25 years, and I know a lot of my patients very well, and I've known them for a very long time. And this is a really difficult decision for me, but I'm very, very excited about it because I've known these patients so long, and now I want to get to know them even better. And I think there's tremendous value. There are so many of my patients that try so hard, and everyone's busy, everyone has to work, and I understand that. But if you're, instead of coming to a physician and waiting 25 minutes in the waiting room, now you'll be able to come to the physician and sit with the doctor and talk to them for 40 minutes, instead of spending 25 minutes checking in, 5 minutes with the doctor, and 10 minutes checking out. And the dynamic is so different, and it's so exciting, and I think the benefits long-term for everyone is just, again, there are so many studies that show the benefits of a concierge practice to the patient.